show is controversial and contains content you may find offensive. Listener discretion is advised. 98 FM.
This is 98 FM's Dublin Talks with Adrian Kennedy.
Yes, indeed, it is Thursday, the 13th day of July 2017. And how are you tonight? Hope everything is good with you. I'm Adrian Kennedy, and between now and midday today, this is 98 FM's Dublin Talks. Be a bit of a long show now if it was on till midnight tonight, wouldn't it?
Wouldn't know what to do, Adrian. I didn't think I've been here since 6 a.m. I can't stay till midnight.
Yes, we're here till midday today. Okay. We've a lot coming up on the programme. Two horrific stories of things that had two very different stories of things that happened to two of our listeners on public transport here in Dublin. We'll tell you both of those stories. We're also going to be telling you something that you shouldn't do if you're in a gym. Okay? Something that you shouldn't do if you're in a gym. I'll explain that to you later on. Is that being dealt with, Katie? Yeah? This thing here? Yep, good man. Now, before we before we get on with the rest of the show, let's bring the winner of our big slide ticket. So it's nice and quick. I told you it was going to be quick. So here we go right now. Okay. Sorry, I have to kind of talk to myself while I'm dialing a phone
just
number.
Just to count the numbers.
Just to count the numbers. And then I never realised I was so bad at actually typing a phone number, but there you go. It's not something you do very often these days. Here we go. Who is this person that I'm ringing? You'll find out in just a moment.
Hello.
Robbie.
How you doing?
How are you, Robbie?
All good.
Robbie, this is Adrian Kennedy here from 98 FM.
Great stuff. How's it going?
I'm very good, thanks, Robbie. Robbie, I have good news for you. You just won yourself a pair of wristbands for the Big Slide Festival this weekend.
Brilliant.
Come on, Robbie.
Congratulations, Robbie. Are you going to come in and have a go on it?
Oh, we will indeed. Yeah.
It looks mega now. I'm dying. Did you ever go on it last year, Darren?
I went down it a few times last year and I was really good.
It was really good.
I raced a few people and won it.
Really?
Yeah, I was racing Ian from upstairs. Ian didn't stand a chance.
Very good. So it's that good. It is this weekend, Saturday and Sunday, Robbie. Congratulations, Robbie Maguire from Clonee. You are our latest winner of a pair of wristbands for the Big Slide Festival, and we will be in touch with you, Robbie.
Great, so thanks.
Cheers, mate. Bye-bye. There you go. There you go.
Bye-bye.
That's Robbie from Clonee, our latest winner on 98 FM's Big Slide Festival. It's just the coolest thing, it really is, and we're really looking forward to it this Saturday and Sunday at that big hill, Wine Tavern Street Hill, just beside Christchurch Cathedral. This is 98 FM's Dublin Talks. That is not the music that I want. It's just not. This is. I'm Adrian Kennedy, and that man there is Darren Cleary.
Well, hello there.
Well, hello there. How are we today, Darren?
Very well, and yourself?
I'm good, thank you. Yeah, I'm very good. Lots going on in the world.
Yes, Adrian, I'm getting used to going through the papers now. I've been here for the last week and a half, and I haven't yet got used to the sight of you on the front page of a newspaper. It's so strange.
I haven't myself.
Yeah. Kennedy.
I actually went in to get a donut in my local petrol station on the way into work today. Walked in, went to the donut counter, had a lovely yummy donut, but that's neither here nor there. And then walking past the paper stand, bang!
Who's
Kennedy.
staring back? It's
Kennedy,
you,
yes.
and you're pointing.
I'm pointing, yeah.
And this week, Kennedy's talking about sexism in the Evening Herald. Pick it up now, $1.20, very good for a very good price for everything that comes with the Herald. I'm a big fan of their sport. But on page 15 is you, Adrian Kennedy, and you've got some stuff to talk about.
Correct.
Tell us what's on in the you're talking about sexism.
That's one thing, yeah, sexism.
And
that was about something that we did talk about on the show last week or the week before about wolf whistling. Yeah. And why so many snowflakes find it offensive when they whistle that.
Well, people were very offended last night. Did you see the tennis? Bit of tennis.
No.
Andy Murray, of course, eliminated
out,
at Wimbledon. But afterwards, a journalist said, and Andy, you're conqueror, the first American since 2009 to make it to this stage. And Murray says, man. And people are commending him for tackling sexism.
Why? Because he said man.
Because he said, correct yourself, he's the first man. A woman has been there since 2009. So the reporter's a bit taken aback at Andy Murray and he's thinking, what have I done here? But everyone has taken to Twitter, everyone has taken to Facebook, as they do, and saying, well done, Andy Murray, for tackling everyday sexism, casual sexism. Now, for me, I don't know why people would be expecting this man to be talking to Andy Murray, the men's top seed at Wimbledon, who's just been knocked out of the men's competition, expect him to be asking about the women's competition. So very strange.
Yeah, well, that's true. But the other article that I'm going on about in today's Herald, and if you haven't seen our column, it's every Thursday now in the Herald. Delighted with it. It's going really well. And the article in the Herald, it's grand, Jamie. The article in the Herald, one of the pieces that I'm writing about this week is people who ban the taking of photographs at their wedding and the publishing of those photographs to social media.
Yeah, that's the story that caught my eye, Adrian. It's a very good point you're raising here. You say an age in which we share our lives with everyone, social media.
Yep.
You're not impressed by the fact that some people like to ban social media.
I got an invite from to a wedding, okay? Now, this was something that was in my mind anyway. And then I got an invite to a wedding from somebody who will remain nameless. So Katie invited me to her wedding. And
that's too easy. You have to... Kay... Yeah, no.
Okay, I want to just read what this wedding invite says at the bottom of the wedding invite, okay? And I want to get people's opinions on this. We kindly ask guests to refrain from posting pictures of the bride and groom on social media on the wedding day. Okay? But then, when discussed further, I then found out that not only is there a ban on posting photographs on social media, and maybe I can get that, okay? I can kind of get my head around that. But there is also a blanket ban on taking photographs in the church. End of. You are not allowed to take your phone out and take photographs. Katie's shouting in my ear here, it's an intimate moment. It's not an intimate moment. You'll have 150 people in the bloody church. What's intimate about that? Nothing.
But you're not sharing it with 500 of your random Facebook friends as well.
Okay, the Facebook thing I'm getting my head around, okay? That people don't want photographs of their wedding on Facebook. Okay, fine. I'll give you that. But this ban of not taking photographs in the church is a load of absolute, utter and total...
Really?
Oh,
no, I think it's fair enough in my eyes.
There's a photograph. You can describe to our listeners what the photograph in the paper is.
Well, you have a photo of a friend of the show. You've got Christy Dignam of Aslan, and he's walking his daughter Ciara down the aisle.
Yes.
And you say, I took the picture of Ciara Dignam and her dad Christy walking down the aisle in 2013. I love it. And everything it symbolises.
And I did.
Was I wrong to take it?
I took that photograph myself. That photograph that's in the Herald today, I took myself. I actually posted it on social media at the time. 500,000 people saw it. That photograph was taken only a couple of days after Christy was diagnosed with his cancer, and it was a big thing to be walking his daughter up the aisle and all of that. But was I wrong to take the photograph in the church? At Katie's wedding, I am banned from taking a photograph like that. The point that I was making to her, and the point that I want to make in general, is I'm invited to a wedding, yeah? I'm very proud to be invited to a wedding. I like to have memories of a wedding from photographs. We all like to have our own memories. I don't want clinical memories handed to me by the person who invited me from their photographer. I want my own bloody photographs.
But it's not your day.
I know, but I was invited to the day.
Yeah, but it's not your day.
Okay, but if you don't want to share your day with everybody, then don't invite anybody and do it in private.
They want to share the day with you, of course. That's why you're invited. But I think they have the right to decide who can do what at their wedding. They have the right to decide whether you can take pictures of them. I'm sure if you took a picture yourself...
I have to be honest, it's the most precious thing I've ever heard. It really is. And what's the last line on that article?
The last line on the whole article, well, you question, was I wrong to take? The last line you say... When people are chuffed to be at the event, they share it with the world. So when I saw the picture ban, I thought to myself, who do they think they are?
Yeah, who do they think they are? Like, seriously. If you want to have a wedding in private, have it in private. Listen to them. Shout that out again, Kate.
It's my wedding.
It's my wedding. Listen to her rapping on.
It is. Look, to be honest,
I know it's her wedding, and blah blah blah. But and the social media thing, I'll nearly get my head around. Don't post photographs on social media. I'll nearly give her that. But no.
So
not,
can you
not
take a
taking
picture of yourself at the wedding?
Apparently not.
So that's
Oh
banned.
no, apparently I can't even bring my phone. It's like going into North Korea.
Look, I understand why they'd want it. It's their day. It's as well. Brides can be a little bit touchy about people taking ugly photos. If you're paying a couple of hundred quid,
sorry, it's not possible with Katie. Our Katie is so
well,
stunning.
she is great. She is brilliant. She looks smashing in her
that
wedding
obviously
day.
is her worry, because I've so many minging photographs of her, so maybe that's her concern. Hang on there for a second. James, you're on 98 FM. How are you, James?
Good morning, Adrian. How are you?
I'm good, thanks, James. Is it just me? And I want to find out. Is it just me who feels this way? I never heard anything as precious in all my life.
You know what? Katie's like she's like a superstar the way she's going on there. It's like pushing back. That's where the wedding's going to be, is it? No photographs, no media, no nothing.
But here's the thing. The reason big celebrities, might have a ban on photographs being taken at their wedding is because they've signed a multi-million-dollar deal with Hello magazine.
Well, Katie has them.
Hang on, let me just check. Katie, have you signed a deal with Hello? No, not that magazine.
I didn't know they still publish that. I thought that was gone.
She's trying to sign a deal with the Herald. No, they're not interested, Katie. The point I'm making is that very last line of that article, who do they think they are?
The question is, are you going to break the ban?
Am I going to take
Are you
going
to break the ban? Are you going to take a photo?
Adrian, if I was you, I'd break the ban. Just tonight, Katie.
Here's the thing. I have Katie wound up now to breaking point. I am going to break the ban. But here's what I'm worried about, yeah? So Katie's walking up the aisle. She's getting married at the end of August, yeah?
And she trips on her dress and you get a nice picture.
And I get a lovely picture. Yay! Sounds like a plan. But hang on, I have this image in my head now of Katie's wedding, yeah? So she's walking up the aisle and everything's going lovely, and I take out my phone and I'm taking a lovely photo, or my nice camera, and I'm taking a photograph, and she jumps over the stools, dives on top of me, drop kicks my camera. I just think it's very, very precious.
I could see Katie turning around and looking at you and saying, "Adrian, turn that phone off."
Yeah, it's going to be a tough
anger face on her. She will, and she walked down the aisle that nice and polite again.
But you also agree that it's very precious now to be saying, "Don't take photographs of my wedding."
I didn't know. I don't know. We had loads of photographs. On our wedding now, like the lads were constantly taking photographs in the church, outside the church, before we set off. But I told them now, before we set off, I don't want that on Facebook.
Okay, I'm getting my head around the Facebook thing, okay? I nearly accept I don't want photographs on Facebook of the wedding, okay? But this church thing of not being able to take photographs in the church, seriously.
No, we had loads of photographs inside church and outside church.
And can I tell you that the photograph that I put in the Herald today, which I took of Ciara Dignam with her dad Christy, walking up the aisle, like I said, that photograph appeared in loads of different places. It was a very iconic picture from that wedding day because of what it symbolised, and Christy being sick and everything else, walking his daughter up the aisle. If there had been a ban, I wouldn't have got that photograph. Do you know what I mean? And that photograph is an important memory for me. So I think I'm entitled to have my own memories of the day, rather than.
I think so, especially when Katie falls now. I think you should have.
Absolutely. I agree. Yeah.
I agree. Yeah.
But Adrian, you ask in the last line, who do they think they are? Who do you think you are that you're entitled to take your picture of them?
Okay, here's the thing.
Freedom of press.
Yeah, hang on. No, here's the thing. Yeah, you get invited to a wedding. Yes, it's not like if you want a private wedding, you invite two people. You're two witnesses. If you have guests coming to your wedding, it's a public event.
But you can take pictures any day of the week, anywhere you want.
Okay, so where do we stop this?
For 2 hours,
hang on.
just not to take
Where
a
do
photo.
we stop this? Do we start strip searching people coming into the church?
Just respect people's wishes.
No,
they're not asking for much. They're not asking for much.
Paul, you're on 98 FM. How are you, Paul?
A very good morning to you all. How are things?
A very good morning to you, Paul. How are you?
I'm very good, thank you.
Now, Paul, what's your view on this?
Okay, I work in the wedding industry. Now, this topic has been constantly going on in helping get married Ireland, and basically the problem with it is the photographs of the professional photographer are interfered by general public who are attending the wedding.
Like sticking their arms out in front of cameras and all that. Are you a photographer?
I'm not a photographer. I'm a table planning expert, so I am.
Right, okay. Here's one of the things I would argue, okay? And this is something I have argued until I'm blue in the face. We live in an age where that's what people do. Get over yourselves. Like, adapt to the new way of doing things. We take photographs of everything.
Well, that is true. That is true. But unfortunately, when it comes to the bride and groom, they're inviting the couples, the guests, to spectate, to participate. But it's only participating to witness the actual wedding. They're not asking them to come along with their photograph, with their cameras and stuff. It's to watch them getting married on their special day.
Okay, like I said, Paul. There's a photograph that I've published in the Herald today that I took at a wedding of Ciara Dignam and her dad Christy walking her up the aisle. It's an amazing picture. I don't know if her photographer captured one as well. Maybe he did, but I certainly didn't ruin her photographer capturing a photograph. I got an amazing photograph of a very special moment. Now, what harm did I do?
No, absolutely. I know. I totally understand. But in regards to that wedding, she most likely had more than one or two photographers, and in that circumstance, it doesn't really matter. For a general wedding, you have normally just one photographer, maybe two. The second photographer will be up near the altar, getting the reaction of the groom. The first photographer will be walking behind the bride when she's walking up the aisle, possibly when she's walking up the aisle. Okay,
but this notion of having a sign at the back of the church when you're coming in saying, please do not take any photographs during the wedding ceremony, I just think that's ridiculous. I really do, because we live in a different era now where, like, my phone is an iPhone. The camera on it is amazing. It takes brilliant photographs. So where are we going with this? Are we going to have to start handing in our phones as we arrive into the church?
You should if they want that. If they want that, you should. I just think you say we live in an era where we can do it. Just because you can doesn't mean you have to. Some people dream of classical weddings. Some people dream of, people sitting there and applauding and not looking at it through the phone. You see concerts as well nowadays. People look at the concerts through a phone. No, I think Katie's right. I think everyone has the right to plan their wedding and execute their wedding the way they want it. And you, as a guest, are asked to be there. If you don't want
photographs taken, have your wedding in private.
But if you don't want to go, don't bother going. If you want to take a photo that much, don't go.
Here's another way of looking at it. Okay, unfortunately, people don't take into consideration the professional that's there.
Okay, that has never been given to me as a reason. That has never been given to me as a reason.
Hold on for a second, okay? Say, for instance, like I was at a friend's wedding, and they had the exact same sign, don't take photographs. Now, I knew the reason why is because I would be interfering with the professional photographer. Now, I did take photographs at that wedding, but I waited for the photographer to pass me, so I was not in the line of sight of the photographer's camera. Now, if a guest is at a wedding, and I'm sure there will be people listening to this conversation, if there is a guest going to a wedding and they do want to take a photograph, wait for the photographer to pass by.
Okay. Yes.
Don't. If you take a look where the photographer is positioned, and when the photographer is finished taking photographs, then take a photograph. Don't do it while the photographer is there. The couple could be paying 1,500, two grand, even 3 or 4 or 5 grand for a photographer. One photograph, one photograph of that smile with the father-in-law or the groom, and then one person standing in the background or with the camera in the background can spoil the whole photograph.
All right, I take that, and that's never an argument that's been put to me. I just want to address the text message. We were talking about the article, my column in the Herald today,
Page 15.
Jesse says, did you have permission to publish that photo of Ciara and Christy Dignam in the paper? Who do you think you are?
Well, you asked the same question. I'm asking the same question to you. Jesse's right. Did you ask him permission?
Yes, I actually did. Yes.
You asked him permission?
Ciara's a friend of mine, and I asked her for permission the other day, and she said, yeah, no problem. So there you go. Oh. Yeah. And then an email that I just got. I'm getting married in a few weeks and I want no pictures during the ceremony. The reason is I was at a wedding last year and the whole time all you see was people's phones out. When the bride was walking down the aisle, phones were stuck out into the aisle in her face. People can't just sit and watch. It's like being at a concert and people watch the whole thing through their phone. Lads, where are we going with this? Are we going to end up going to weddings and have to face forward and not even look at the bride?
The way they're meant to be, the way they should be.
And not even look at the bride?
No, you look at the bride, not at your phone.
Sorry, hang on.
You look at the bride.
Katie's shouting in my ear, yes.
She's right.
You stay in the seat and let me make my way up the aisle. Am I not allowed to turn around and look at you, Katie?
It's like a roller coaster. Keep your hands and feet in the pew at all times.
Listen to the racket in my ear here. Can you hear this?
I can hear it. It's mine. It's mine. I can hear it all right. Now, Adrian, I think if you were going to a wedding in a different country and they said, we are wearing this colour shorts, wear shorts and a shirt, you'd say, yeah, fine, no problem. You abide by the rules on the invitation. Why'd you have a problem with this particular rule? Why would you care? If they said, Adrian, we're not wearing ties, it's top button open, you'd say, okay, no problem.
Okay, this is the bottom line, okay? I'm trying to point out to people that we live in an era that might not make you comfortable, but we live in an era of technology where everybody has a phone, everybody takes photographs, and if you don't want photographs taken, don't invite people.
But they're inviting you for your company, not for your terrible
you go
blurry
to a wedding
pictures.
then. Yeah, you go to a wedding.
I haven't been invited. I don't know why. I wouldn't even take a picture.
Go to the wedding. I don't even want to see you anymore. Oh, here I have more people on this. Good God. Lorraine, you're on 98 FM. How are you, Lorraine?
Oh my God, I'm exhausted listening to you.
I'm exhausted listening to myself.
A bit harsh, Lorraine.
You covered this a few weeks ago.
Yes, we did.
And it's really bitten in your head,
It's
isn't it?
doing my head in,
I
yeah.
tell you, who wants a wedding in a church and a bunch of ninjas jumping over chairs trying to take a picture of the bride?
Yes, Lorraine, yes.
Adrian, you go into a church, you have respect, you turn your phone off.
Yes.
You watch the ceremony, and it's lovely.
Sorry,
you can take your pictures outside and in the reception. End of. I think it's just you have something about taking pictures in the church. Can you not wait till the wedding reception to take a picture? No?
Okay, but the example that I gave that I published in a paper today is a wonderful picture that I have of Christy Dignam walking his daughter up the aisle at a wedding that I was proud to be invited to.
And you could have probably got a beautiful picture of her dancing with her father on the floor.
And
her father and daughter.
I actually do.
So, you know,
I actually do.
Well, why didn't you use that one then? And just not say
No. Hang on.
And Casey, if I were you, I wouldn't have him at the wedding. I'd take his phone off him and I'd sit him at the back and I'd gag him and I'd have him tied to a chair.
You've no idea what's been shouted in my ear here, Lorraine. Go on, Katie.
To a chair.
Say that again, Katie.
Abide by my rules. You're not coming to a wedding if you can't simply abide by my rules.
Oh, even Jamie's getting involved on the action now.
Oh, the stress.
She wants to gag you, Adrian, and tie you to a chair. That's the best offer you've had all day.
Okay, Jason is the last call on this. This is after taking over everything. Jason, hello.
All right.
How are you, Jason?
Not too bad.
Now, Jason, your argument is if you don't like the rule, don't go.
Exactly. You know the way you were always saying, if we don't like the radio show, change the station?
Yep.
Exactly the same thing. If you don't
I'll
like
go
the rule,
to the thing. I'll abide by the rule if I have to. I just think
then why are you complaining about it?
Why are you complaining about it?
I just think it's so precious. I really do.
I think you're being a bit precious. I don't want to take pictures.
Oh, by the way, we're getting married. We're getting married at Christmas, and Katie, you're invited to the wedding, and you can take as many pictures as you like. Oh, she doesn't want to take photographs. Yeah, right. Thanks, Jason. Good luck.
No, bye.
Katie's getting married at the end of August.
I don't know. I haven't been invited.
Katie, can I put your photograph in the Herald? Oh, I can put a photograph in the Herald. Yeah,
that's
there you go.
All right. She doesn't mind being in the Herald. She just doesn't want your blurry photos on your Facebook.
This is 98 FM's Dublin Talks. Thanks, Darren. We didn't get through anything else. That's really, really good.
Sorry, Adrian.
So professional. And by the way, if you want to read the article, it's in today's Herald. Our column is there every Thursday. It's on page 15 in the Herald, and you can read what else we're spouting on about in today's Herald. On the way after the break, a shocking story of what happened to a lady in a wheelchair.
The show getting Dublin talking.
98 FM's Dublin Talks.
Good morning, Dublin. I'm Adrian Kennedy, and this is 98 FM's Dublin Talks. Just back on that wedding thing, and we were just after been talking about this during the wedding or during the break with Katie. A friend of mine got married last year. I think I might have mentioned this before. At a wedding, tragically, the photographer passed away, and they weren't able to access the photographer's photographs of their wedding, so they literally had nothing. The only thing that they did have was access to people's photographs that they took at the wedding, including me, and I'd some beautiful pictures of their wedding in County Meath last year, and it helped them a great deal. They were able to rescue some photographs from all their friends and family who took photographs. Had they had that ban in place, they would have nothing. They would have no memory of their wedding day. And somebody texted in a second ago to say, mentioning no names and a long story short, my friend got married 2 years ago. Photographer made a terrible boob. Only for those taking pictures in the church, the bride would have had nothing. Nothing. So when you're jumping on the bandwagon and agreeing with everything that our Casey has said about taking photographs, have a think about that. You could be left with nothing if you ban your guests from taking photographs. So this is 98 FM's Dublin Talks. I want to talk about next about a really awful story. A woman with cerebral palsy was driven to tears when she was forced to wait on the Dart for 15 minutes for Irish Rail employees to help her exit the train. Her name is Saoirse, and she joins us on 98 FM. Saoirse, welcome to the programme.
Hi.
Saoirse, this sadly is not the first time I have spoken to a wheelchair user telling me a story not dissimilar. Tell me what happened to you, Saoirse.
Yeah, well, as I said before in other interviews, that I work in Blackrock. And I had gone down to the station and there was nobody there, and I had no clue. I didn't know there wouldn't be anyone. And I'd had to ring. I was in a panic. I was like, how am I going to get on the Dart? Had to ring one of the stations, Pierce Station, and they said the driver will help me on. And I to go onto the platform. Went to the platform and I kind of got a bit worried. He was taking his time to get off the Dart. So I said to my friend from work, can you go down there and just give him a check? And he came down, got me onto the Dart, and then once we got to Connolly, there was nobody there, and I was getting a bit worried. So these kids, they were great. They actually stood at the door so the door wouldn't close. And as I was waiting to get off the Dart, you know, it was getting longer and longer, and I was getting very kind of, you know, a bit anxious as well. And I saw people getting frustrated, and they were leaving the train. And I felt very embarrassed, and I had to ask another stranger, can you please go up to the driver and see if he can get me off the Dart? Because I was starting to feel a bit embarrassed by the whole thing.
Because you knew that it was you that was delaying this train, basically.
Exactly, yeah. I was delaying everybody.
That has to be very embarrassing, yeah.
Yeah, I just felt humiliated, and I was frustrated because I can't get off the Dart on my own.
Yes.
And so sorry,
Saoirse, was there nobody on the Dart that could have physically helped you off without a ramp?
There could have been, but like, to be honest, it's not their job.
No, I understand that. Did anybody even offer is what I'm getting at?
They did, but
right.
Like the thing is that I wouldn't have felt comfortable with that, because what if I'd fallen? What if they dropped me? You know, it's a thing. Like, you know, it's a comfort. It's you know, they shouldn't have to do that. Do you know what I mean? Okay, so you're left in a situation where there's nobody there to provide the ramp to wheel you off the Dart. You're holding up the Dart for, and every other Dart behind you as well. Yeah, exactly.
And this went on for 15 minutes. Now, this was in a station, this was in Clontarf, which isn't generally manned, I understand.
No, it was in Connolly.
Oh, Connolly. And why the big delay then?
What happened was I assume it was the driver who had contacted them. I'm not sure. He didn't tell them soon enough, and they had to get someone to get the ramp.
I've been on the platform in Connolly Station, and I've seen where the ramp is on the Dart platform. It doesn't strike me as rocket science to get it to the Dart.
And it's just at this day and age, like you think they'd be there, like to get it off, and like I asked someone to get the driver to get me down, and he said no, there'd be somebody coming. So it was like, I was kind of like, where are they?
So even the driver wasn't able to get out of his cabin and get the ramp thing, because, like I said, I know exactly where it is. It's at the end of the platform in Connolly, and he wasn't able to get off and just get the ramp for you and let you get off.
Yeah,
that's ridiculous in itself, but. I mean, I know Irish Rail issued a statement apologising to you for not having a positive experience, but it was more than not a positive experience. This must have been humiliating for you.
It really was. It was very humiliating because, like, I was sitting there and I'm delaying everyone, and I just wanted to get off the Dart. And to be honest, I felt quite helpless, and I'm a quite independent person. like I hope I am more, you know, and I like to be independent, and this has taken my independence away. You know, I like to go to be able to get home like everyone else and get off the dirt, and this is taken away from me. And it's just, I felt so upset that after I got off the dirt, I just started crying because I was so frustrated.
And for those of us who are able-bodied, we generally, unless we happen to be in the company of a wheelchair user, we generally don't even have to think about these things. We're lucky enough to be able to hop off the dart wherever it stops. I imagine that in this city, especially in the last couple of years, with like the amount of roadworks from the Luas and stuff like that, it has to be very difficult for a wheelchair user to get around.
It's an absolute nightmare. It's horrible to get around. Like, they have these, they're not paths, they're like makeshift ramps, and they're very steep and you're very hard to get down, and then all these broken paths, so you have to go a different way. So otherwise you have to keep finding different ways to get around, and it's a nightmare.
Another thing I don't understand, particularly where it comes to the darts, is how they haven't been adapted for wheelchair use yet. I just don't understand that, because if you look at the majority of Dublin buses now have a wheelchair ramp which just folds out onto the footpath and off you go. I can't understand why they don't have the exact same thing on the dart. Doesn't make sense.
I agree. Yeah, sorry, I completely agree. I think they should be adapted by now. You know, it's 2017. They should have the ramps that the buses have. So that way we don't have to worry about getting someone. Do you know what I mean? And especially now that, you know, one of the staff said that in the future most stations are going to be unmanned. You know, and so, like, what happens to us then?
Yeah, like I said, how they don't have a button that the ramp, like on the bus, just folds out onto the platform and you wheel yourself down, and even to have only one in each carriage would be sufficient. It would certainly be a step in the right direction. It's ridiculous that they don't in this day and age. And I mean, they even have more modern carriages that haven't been adapted, which seems ridiculous. Saoirse, like I said, you're not the first person. I spoke to a guy only last year with a very similar story, and I hate to hear of somebody feeling like a second-class citizen in a city that has done an awful lot for wheelchair users like yourself to make it a bit easier to get around, but still not enough. Not enough. And it's awful that you feel like a second-class citizen on public transport.
Yeah, it's like there have been improvements, and then they haven't been quick enough, and they haven't done enough. You know what I mean? It's like, at this day and age, we should be able to get onto public transport without any issues.
And as somebody, Chris just texted in saying the exact same thing I'm just after saying, which was, surely in the 21st century, darts should be retroactively fitted with auto ramps that deploy at every stop without the need for manual assistance. That doesn't necessarily have to be the case, Chris. It could be done, like you said, Saoirse, with just the press of a button, and the thing will flip out onto the platform. Just doesn't make sense why they haven't done it. And if it's a money thing, well, then shame on them, because people like you are entitled to get around. Saoirse, thanks very much indeed for sharing your story with us on 98 FM.
No problem. Thanks for having me.
On the way after the break, a story of another incident on public transport, this time a completely different one, but a story of how nobody did anything to help this woman or to intervene in any way. Find out what that story is about straight after the break.
98 FM's Dublin Talks with Mattress Express at Des Kelly Interiors, Long Mile Road. Because sleep shouldn't have to wait. 98 FM.
Good morning, Dublin. I'm Adrian Kennedy, and this is 98 FM's Dublin Talks. We're here until midday today. Now, I want to play a little bit of audio from a video that was filmed on board a Dublin bus over the last couple of days on Dollier Street. Have a listen to this.
Smile. You mad little rat. Take a picture of me again. I'll smash it. What's up, bro? Slow. The head on you, ugly looking slow. Okay, what are take a picture of me? It's already is. It's recording everything. What can I do about it? We'll see. We'll see. Will it? Yeah. What will we do? We've got a winning try deal, didn't it? Now record me for. Goodbye. More your business, you know. Goodbye.
Now, it's kind of hard to make out what exactly is going on, but I'm joined by the lady in question. who found herself being very intimidated by a group of young teenagers. Sinead, welcome to 98 FM.
Thanks.
Tell me, Sinead, what happened on Dollier Street yesterday?
So basically, I got on the bus, the 123 at High Street, and there were 4 lads sitting upstairs on the bus in the front 2 seats. So it was about 5:30, so there was still a fair amount of people on the bus. But the language out of them, the vulgarity out of them, language I can cope with, but the vulgarity out of them.
And vulgarity directed towards who?
No, just in the conversation amongst themselves.
Yeah.
So then on Dublin Street, right in the middle, just beyond Trinity, right in the middle of the street, one of them stands up and flings a soda bottle out the window. Like a large, like a Lupus out or one of those type bottles out the window. And I said to him, so there was like lots of pedestrians, lots of cyclists, busy rush hour traffic. So I said to him, sorry, did you just throw that bottle out the window? And he said, I did. And what? What are you going to do about it? And I said, seriously, lads, there's no need for that. I said, you could have hit a cyclist, you could have caused an accident. Like, seriously, what's the mentality here? And they continue then to roar abuse at me. So
okay, so there you are. You're on the upstairs of a bus. You witnessed these young fellas. It was all fellas, all young fellas, was it?
Yes, yeah. About 4 lads. About 15, I'd say.
No, I've seen the video. We just haven't published the video because there are minors in the video. But one of them threw a look at the window. God knows what they might have hit.
Yeah. So I said to them, like, seriously, what did you do that for? So they continued to roar abuse and they said, what are you going to do about it? What are you going to do about it? So I went downstairs and I said to the bus driver, there are 4 lads upstairs, they're roaring abuse at me and they're after flinging a bottle out the window onto Dublin Street. Mm-hmm. So in fairness, he was in the middle of traffic and there was nothing he could do. So he said, but if you can point them out to me, I can do something then. And I said, yeah, I'll happily point them out. I'm sick of thugs thinking they can get away with behaviour like that and people saying nothing. And that nobody on the bus said anything about their behaviour. So when they came to get off, the next available stop was O'Connell Street. Mm-hmm. And they went to get off the bus. And I knew they'd start abusing me then when they were getting off. So I recorded them. So they screamed abuse, called me all the hers and CUNTs all over the place. So I just recorded them because I had a feeling they were going to do that.
Okay, let me just, now that we have the whole story, let me just play a bit of that audio again just so the people can hear. This is after you've already asked them what are you doing? What are you doing throwing bottles out the window? Yeah, and I'd spoken
to the bus driver as well at this stage, and then I went back upstairs and took my seat again.
Okay, so let's just have a listen to the audio once again from that bus.
Smile. You mad little rat. Take a picture of me again. I'll smash it for you. What's up, bro? Snuck the hell out of me. Ugly looking slut. Okay, I'll take a picture of me.
It already is.
Now, in that recording, there's a quite clear threat. Take a photograph of me and I'll smash it in your face or something like that, I think he said.
Yeah.
That must have been very intimidating.
It was, because I was sitting and they were standing, So it was intimidating even from that point of view.
Did you think you were going to get a dig off one of them?
I wouldn't have been surprised if they tried to grab the phone out of my hand, because I was holding onto the phone tightly, and because I was thinking they're going to grab the phone out of my hand. Mm. So I did think that was going to happen.
Now, there are those, in fact, I've a call here. Stay there for 1 second, Sinead. Aoife, you think that people should just let these things pass them by and not get involved?
Yeah, well, in the case like that lady's, I think she shouldn't have got involved, knowing the way they were carrying on beforehand. Like, she should have just went down to the busman and said, look, they're carrying on. Blah, blah, blah.
I know, but if I saw somebody flinging a bottle out of the upstairs of a bus onto a busy street, I'd feel annoyed over it as well. Was she not right to be annoyed?
No, I'd be annoyed as well, but I wouldn't confront them myself. Like, I'd go down to the busman, because you don't know what they'd be capable if they could have pulled out at night, or, like...
I know, okay, and I know, I'm looking at some of the comments coming in from people saying, you should mind your own business in a situation like this. You're putting yourself in harm's way and all of that.
Yeah.
Sinead, what do you say to those sorts of comments?
Well, yeah, I understand people's point of view, but I just think we, as a society, people accept this behaviour.
And that's what I was about to say, Aoife, and I'd say this to you. Do we just turn a blind eye to absolutely every bit of crap that goes on a bus, for example, so they feel immune? They feel that they can just do what they like?
I just think for our own safety, because there was a group of them, and obviously no one.
But if we all adopt that attitude of not say see no evil, hear no evil, then young fellas like this will think they can throw anything they like out of the upstairs of a bus. It isn't acceptable to be flinging bottles out of the upstairs of a bus.
The busmen, don't they have them little cameras and the little mirrors that look up? He obviously, like, they do check on, like, people sitting on the bus. He should have stopped the bus and kicked them off. Like, it shouldn't be up to passengers to get involved, and then, like, God only knows what could have happened. Like,
well, okay, do me a favour, both of you, and stay on the line there for 1 second. Sinead, can you hang on for another couple of minutes?
Yeah, not too much longer though.
Okay, 6797 981 is our telephone number. You can text or WhatsApp us on 0877 98 98 98. Would you be one of the people that would say, fair play, Sinead? Fair play for standing up and not letting the little toe rags away with it? Or do you think she was mad to even open her mouth? Call me right now on 6797 981.
98 FM's Dublin Talks. Get on it now.
Call 6797 981.
Hello, there we are. I don't know what happened there. Live and exclusive to Dublin's 98 FM. This is Dublin Talks. I'm Adrian Kennedy, and Adrian is here with Thursday's top headlines.
Thanks, Adrian. Good morning. A doctor has appeared in court charged with murdering her 3-year-old son at their home in Kimmage. Omar Omran's body was found on Monday evening when Gardaí were called to an apartment at the Riverside complex. He'd been stabbed to death. His mum, Maha Al-Adim, was arrested yesterday and charged with his murder in the early hours of this morning. After she was charged, the court heard she said, "Yes, it was my knife. Yes, it was my hand. It was not me. It was the power." The lack of affordable housing scheme in the city could delay the redevelopment of 3 Dublin housing projects. Dublin City Council says it's ready to start the process of hiring builders to construct 1,600 homes at O'Devaney Gardens, St Michael's Estate in Inchicore and Oscar Traynor Road. But the government needs to have a system in place first. It's hoped a bill to allow children to be adopted by their foster parents will be passed in the Dáil today. The legislation will enable all kids to be considered for adoption regardless of the marital status of their parents. And British newspaper The Guardian has been investigating why so many Irish people say they hate you too. A reporter spoke to people in Grogan's on South William Street and came to the conclusion it's a classic case of Irish begrudgery. The band's tax arrangements and political stance were given as some of the reasons. And now you're up to date on 98 FM.
That's bizarre actually you mentioned that, because I'm one of those people, I wouldn't cross the road to see them. It's nothing to do with begrudgery, I just don't like their music.
But people do really lay into Bono.
Yeah. No, I know that.
Is that how you feel about Bono?
No, Bono doesn't bother me per se.
Yeah.
It's just the band and their music does nothing
I think
for me.
you can be ambivalent about the music.
I remember saying this to an American once, that I don't like U2, and he couldn't get over this.
The South Americans as well.
Thanks, Dino.
This is 98 FM's Dublin Talks with Adrian Kennedy.
And the Big Slide Festival, by the way, is in association with Dublin City Council. We're genuinely grateful to them for getting on board again this year and fully supporting this free day out for Dubliners. Okay, so our sincere thanks to Dublin City Council for their involvement. We're in the middle of a conversation about something that happened to one of our listeners over the weekend. You heard her story. She got dog's abuse on the bus when she told a group of young fellas, or one young fella in particular, "What the hell are you doing throwing a Lucozade bottle out of the upstairs window of the bus?"
Smile. You mad little rat. Take a picture of me again. I'll smash it for you. What's up, boy? Snow. The hell are you ugly looking slow? Okay, smile. I'll take a picture of me.
It's already, it's recording everything.
What can I do about it?
We'll see.
Will it?
Yeah.
We didn't show anything, did it? Now record me for.
Goodbye.
Bye.
Now, a lot of people have been saying that she shouldn't have gotten involved, she should have minded her own business, but then others believe that if we all mind our own business, if we all continue to ignore antisocial behaviour like that, it is not acceptable to be throwing bottles out of the upstairs window of a bus. It just isn't. And a lot of people think that woman is a hero for at least having the bottle to say, "No, lads, I'm sorry, that's not good enough." Brendan, you're on 98 FM. How are you, Brendan?
How are you doing?
Good, thanks, Brendan. You heard Sinead's story a couple of minutes ago. Now, she did have to rush off. I knew she was in a rush today. But what did you want to say on this, Brendan?
Well, fair play to her. That's
Fair
all
play
I
to
have to
her.
say.
Yes.
You know, there's too many cowards in this world. That won't say nothing. I mean, what happened if, God forbid, like any of the people that are on that bus, if any of their family had been walking past that bus
and got that bottle in the head, yeah,
and got a bottle in the head, would they say then, sure, I can't intervene, leave it alone?
Now, I know one of the things that she did say to us off air, and unfortunately she's gone now, so I can't ask her directly, but she did say to our production staff earlier on that she felt that the other people on the bus were cowards, that they did absolutely nothing. They left her to fend for herself. Nobody said anything.
They are a bunch of cowards. The whole lot of them. I mean, that's why these little scumbags get away with it. And we just continue to do it because people just sit back and do nothing.
But
a bunch of wimps.
Okay, but are people not right to be fearful? I mean, you can hear that audio. Like I said, I have a video of the whole thing. I can't publish it because, like with everything, they're minors and you can't identify minors and all that, much not as I'd love to. But you've heard the audio from it. They were fairly aggressive. Was she not mad to take on potentially very aggressive young fellas?
Right, well, how many of them was there?
There was 4 of them.
4 of them. Now, how many people were on the bus?
I don't actually know the answer to that.
Well, I'd say there was more. I'd say there was more than 4 people on the bus.
I would think so. Yes.
Yeah. So if more than 4 of them had got up, and I'm sure there was more than 4.
Sorry, I'm being told there were people upstairs. There were people upstairs.
So I'd say there was more than 4 different blokes on that bus, and any of them could have got up and grabbed them by the scruff of the neck and dragged them down off the bus.
Don't you risk, if you do something like that, Brendan, of bringing the wrath of a parent down on you for assaulting a minor?
I couldn't give a crap. There's cameras on them buses, isn't there?
There absolutely is, yep.
So how come these cameras are not monitored on a daily basis by Dublin Bus? And the people then, their faces are not given to the guards and they're not charged for doing whatever they're doing.
So you think fair play to this woman for...
Basically, when it comes down to a fair play to her, and everyone else that was on that bus was a coward.
Okay.
And anyone else who doesn't intervene and stuff like that, they're nothing but a bunch of wimps.
All right, stay there for 1 second. And like I said, no, I didn't get those words out of her on air, but she did say it to me, or say it to her staff earlier on, that she believes that other people on the bus were cowards for not even attempting to do anything, even in support of her.
If one of them had a hero, would people have still sat down and done nothing?
No, exactly, yeah. Stay there for a second. Where am I going next? I'm going to Adrian. You're on 98 FM. Hi, Adrian.
Hi, how are you?
Now, Adrian, you also think fair play to Sinead.
Yeah.
Was she not mad, though, to be taking on a group of young fellas?
I suppose it can be a little bit intimidating, but if someone doesn't stand up to them, they just keep doing it.
I agree with that, and I did say that to her earlier on. I think if we all continue to turn a blind eye like everybody on that bus did, then we will have a situation that young people can feel they can get on the bus and do what they like.
Yeah, well, I was in the same situation last week where 2 young boys got on the bus and they were shouting racial abuse at a family, like a lady and her small children, and I wasn't having any of it. I absolutely tore them to bits, told them to get off the bus, and the bus driver didn't do anything, and it was only when other passengers stepped in because they had threatened to kick me. And I said to them, yeah, go for it. And the other passengers jumped in then, and then eventually the bus driver jumped in and the bus actually stopped and we kicked them off.
Would you have done the same thing as that lady Sinead did?
Yeah, big time, yeah.
Okay,
yeah.
so I want to paint this picture. A group of rowdy young fellas sitting at the front of a bus. The bus is on Dollier Street and they decide to, for whatever reason, fling a bloody Lucozade bottle out the window. And this lady, Sinead, says to them, lads, what the hell are you doing? What are you doing throwing bottles out the window of the bus? And she gets told, F off, Mrs. Young, you stupid this and stupid that. But you would do the same thing knowing that you're going to get dogs abuse like that?
Yeah, because like I said, if someone doesn't stand up to them, who is going to stand up to them? And what if they hit somebody with that bottle and hurt them, like an older person or a small child or something like that? That's not on. And if no one is teaching them manners, how are they going to know? So somebody has to kind of instill something into them. Do you know what I mean?
But is it up to you?
I don't know if it's up to me personally.
It's up to everybody.
But it's up to everybody.
It's up to everybody.
You're dead right. It's up to everybody.
So say
these are the young people of our country, and if we don't,
but surely it's not okay. But no disrespect to Sinead, and I think fair play to her for having the balls to do it.
Yeah.
I really do. I genuinely do. But I can also see the risk she was taking. Those young fellas got really nasty. One in particular got really nasty to her. She kept videoing them getting off the bus. It wouldn't have surprised me if one of them had grabbed the phone off her and stood on it and smashed it and then legged it. Now, that's a risk for her to be taking.
It is a risk, but in the first, they shouldn't have been doing that in the first place. How are they supposed to learn and know? That's disgraceful. If they keep getting away with it, they're going to just keep doing it.
Go kick up the arse, that's what they need.
Yeah, you're dead right. They are good. I never would have done that.
What's funny these days is women seem to have bigger balls than the men these days. Because half the men you see just sit there and do nothing like a bunch of wimps.
Because they're afraid. But if we keep being afraid and we just let people take over like that, what kind of adults are they going to turn into?
Little toe rags at the truth.
And then what?
But again, I come back to the point that it is not the responsibility of somebody like Sinead to act as that child's parent.
It's the responsibility of everybody to stop these little scumbags.
Okay,
and not just sit back and let them do what you want.
Stay there for 1 second. Okay, you've heard the whole story. This happened on a bus yesterday. The bus was going up Dollier Street, and the people on the bus did nothing when Sinead asked the young fella, "What the hell are you doing throwing a bottle out the window of the bus?" And you think of the amount of people that are on O'Connell Street, on Westmoreland Street, on Dollier Street, all over the place. There's loads of people, and chances are that bottle probably hit somebody. Brian, you're on 98 FM. How are you, Brian?
Not too bad, Adrian. Yourself?
Good. Not a bother, thank you, Brian. What do you want to say on this?
I had a situation now slightly different to what you're talking about there. I was on a bus about 2 weeks ago, and I was coming past Blanchard's Town Shopping Centre. I was coming into Dublin from Navan, and I was sitting on a bus, and I was upstairs actually, and this guy sat across from me and started hounding me for money. And he kept on at me and on at me and on at me. So I said, "Sorry, I can't help you." So I waited about 10 minutes and I said nothing. And I went downstairs. And about 5 minutes later, I told the driver what happened. Immediately what happened was the driver got out of his seat and got the guy removed from the bus. And it turned out that the guy, he had only bought a ticket to Navan, had overrun his fare anyway. So he was turfed off the bus on the Navan Road. So that was the outcome of that. But you see, one thing intervening with things like that, you could be taking a risk intervening.
Brian, this lady didn't go and grab the young fella by the scruff of the neck. She might have felt like doing it, but she didn't. Yeah. She just basically said, "Really, lads, do you think that's appropriate to be flinging bottles out of the upstairs of a bus?"
Yeah.
And she got dog's abuse for it.
Yeah, but there's another risk of them. One of those could have turned around and planted a knife in her or something. You know what I mean? That's the risk there too.
Yeah, they absolutely could. One of them could have grabbed her phone and smashed it to smithereens.
Yeah.
So do you think people should just mind their own business?
Well,
okay.
I
want you to imagine then, Brian.
You know what I mean?
Okay, you're on that bus. These lads are just in front of you. You see them flinging bottles out the window of the bus. Are you going to just sit there?
No, I don't know. It depends on me frame of mind at the time. You know, the kind of it can be down to how you are at the time. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
If you feel brazen enough, if you're not, don't. You know what I mean? If you feel up to doing it, do. If you don't feel you're able to cope with it, don't. You know what I mean?
Well, she obviously did. Anne, you're on 98 FM. How are you, Anne?
Hi, thank you for taking my call. I admire the lady.
Oh, sorry, Anne. Anne, your mobile is really bad reception.
Really?
No, you're.
Oh, my bad.
If you were on the moon, I'd probably be able to hear you better.
Can you hear me now?
That's a bit better. Yeah, go on.
I admire the lady very much. I think she was wonderful. We have a situation, right, where we live, and it's going on now over here. And we have one family that's intimidating.
Sorry, Anne, I'm going to have to get the lads to call you back because your mobile is just too bad, and we're not going to be able to hear a word you're saying. Brendan, I have to say, a lot of people are on to us saying, you should mind your own business. That this
you see, the problem is, yeah, if I had been on that bus when your one's on that bus and she had said something and they start giving dogs abuse, then I would have said something to them, which makes it a bit even then, because it's not just your woman, it's me who steps up as well.
Absolutely.
And if everyone else was the same, I guarantee you, them 4 lads would have shut their mouths quick enough. That bottle they threw out that window. How did they know there wasn't a woman walking down the road with a 2-week-old baby in the buggy?
They don't.
And that bottle hits that baby in the head.
They absolutely don't.
Exactly. So people need to stand up, kick the shit out of them, and throw them off the bus.
I mean, I know you feel that way. We all feel that way.
Well, what would you do?
Well, I certainly wouldn't kick the shite out of them.
Well, what would you do? Would you say anything?
I would say something, yeah.
See, if more people were like you, me, and that lady, and that other lady that was on the phone, the world would be a better place.
Now, I do realise that there is a risk involved, though. And I do think that she did take a risk. Now, she didn't just say it to them. She actually went down and reported it to the bus driver. And that's when the young fellas started losing their, you-know-what, and giving her even more abuse. You bleeding rat misses and all that.
Well, if nobody stood up to anybody, the world would be in bits.
Yeah, you're right.
People need to stand up.
Okay,
stop people from doing stuff.
Stay there for a second. Anne, you were saying, have we got you on a clearer line now?
Yeah, can you hear me okay?
Okay, that's grand. Now,
That's grand.
and you were saying that you admire this woman. You think she was brilliant.
Absolutely, and I think more people need to stand together and sort these thugs out. We have a situation where I live, right? And we've one family that is absolutely unbelievable, right, where I live. And we're in a private estate, and the council says there's a family a house here. And what's happened since they come in is just unbelievable. We all stood together to support a lady that they smashed her house in around her, right, with young children. And what we all done was go on to the county council and have them removed from the area. Their answer was, we have to wait 5 years to go into court and see what the judge says. So it's gone now that you can't say anything to the children. I'm just using who they are, the right tenants, and that's not to do. I wouldn't care what they were. You know what I mean? And as I said, people are paying big money for their houses here, and we're all intimidated. And the law can do nothing, and the county council will do nothing. You know?
And you see, this is part of the problem as well. And by the way, sorry, kids can be prosecuted. They can be taken to the children's courts. But this is part of the problem with the likes of what happened on this bus yesterday. People obviously feel intimidated to try and take on these young fellas, and that makes them feel that they can act with absolute impunity. They can do whatever the hell they want, and nobody's going to say anything.
And what's happened down here as well, Adrian, is people have served them, but the person who did, they smashed the place in around the person, glassing on top of the children and all. You know what I mean? Policeman came up and he said, I can't face them. I only get £179 a week, whatever. And this has been going on continuously here, and we just can't get them out. And the new principal of the county council is, we understand your plight. The whole place stood together, you know.
And has anybody ever approached any of them, or has anything ever been done?
That's what happened. A woman did silence them, and they smashed their house that night in around it and ran in with bread knives. So the point is that we are so angry here, you know what I mean? Because our attitude is, if you buy a property, you don't need these thugs beside you. Apparently this is their 11th house. Now, I cannot understand why the county council can get away with this, you know what I mean, and not remove these people. Because they're terrifying everybody, you know? Like, they beat everyone that says anything to them. Do you know what I mean?
And again, so from that point of view, you admire this lady, but you have to realise the risk that she took in doing it. Let me just bring in one last call. Suzanne, you're on Dublin's 98 FM. Hi, Suzanne.
Hi.
Hi, Suzanne. How are you? Well, I'm Adrian, but go on anyway. Jeremy's on his Holliers.
Hi.
What did you want to say?
You know the way the Lewis line has these guards that walk up and down on the... why can't the Dublin buses have them sort of guards that's going up and down? The same thing then the passengers wouldn't have to be putting their lives in danger.
I imagine cost is part of the problem, I should imagine. They're not flush with money in Dublin Bus. They've also got a much bigger fleet, which would make it much more difficult. They've a fleet of 987 buses.
Really?
Which is a lot more difficult to have security going up and down. But I do take your point, where the Lewis is literally 2 lines, they hop off one, they hop on another. The buses are much more complicated and would involve much more staff.
It's just that, like, when you think back in the day, you had 2 conductors.
Yes, you did. You used to have a conductor and all that, yeah.
They must have obviously felt much safer. Like, I mean, in all fairness, they're only human. They're doing a job. They would be terrified, I'm sure.
Well, actually, let me just put your point to a Dublin bus driver. Ralph, you are a driver yourself.
I am.
Why do you think there's no security like there is on the Lewis?
To be truthful, it's more to do with money. I
would have thought so, yes. And I've just said that to that lady. It's a much bigger fleet and network than the Lewis would be.
You couldn't have the amount of staff required to police every bus in the city.
No, you just couldn't.
You'd break the bank trying to do it.
Anyway, tell me your story, Ralph.
It was a few years back there now, coming off Dame Street on when the 145 used to come down and around that corner onto Westmoreland Street there. A guy came running up to my driver's window, banged on the window one day, and he said, "Listen, mate," he said, the back window when you're upstairs is just open, and one of the back seats has just been launched out the window." Jeez. And a lady, as you said earlier on, there could have been people walking behind the bus and ladies with buggies or whatever. This lady happened to be strolling behind the bus, and the seat landed at the front of the buggy. So if she was slightly quicker, it would have actually hit the baby. And you remember all upstairs laughing out the window, so I put the brakes on, handbrake on, straight upstairs. The guy who saw it, I asked to stand there and do witness for me. So I went up, frog marched, there was about 5 of them if I can remember rightly, back down the stairs and sat them down on the back seat. Now they were only maybe 14, 15 at the very most. Sat them all there, asked them who did it, got the usual, "No, we're not telling you." I thought, fair enough, guards are on the way. They were all being brave, and then I was upstairs. The controller called me, so I had to move away from for a minute, and they tried to make a dash for the emergency exit on the back of the bus. The other guy who had been with me doing witness had his back up against it. He saw what they were playing at. So he sat there and held the door closed, and I wouldn't let them out the front of the bus. So the guard arrived, stepped on, basically said, "Right, you lot, who did it?" And the usual, "No, we're all being the hard lads, we're not telling you." And he said, "Right, that's fair enough." He said, "I have a van coming over from Pierce Street, you're all arrested." And every finger just went, it was him. And the young guy that did it, they hung him. And your man handcuffed him. Even though he was only a young lad, he took out the handcuffs and he handcuffed him and frog marched him off the bus.
Brilliant.
And basically said, "We'll be going over and your parents are getting a phone call and you can explain to them what you've just done."
I love it.
The other 4 got off like 4 little sheep.
Again, Ralph, I would say to you, you took a bit of a risk yourself. And it's not necessarily your job.
I do understand that, and technically speaking, Adrian, we're not meant to leave.
Yeah, I thought that,
under all this health and safety malarkey. But when something like that happens, you have to say, "Listen, enough is enough." I'm not putting up with this type of thing again. I mean, I've had bottles thrown out the windows of buses before, and like that, you just grab someone and haul them down the stairs. Now, I'm not trying to play the hard man or anything.
No, I know, and I've often spoken to other drivers that will not get out of their cab for love nor money. And
I do understand that as well. You have to think about your own safety as well. But when you see it's a gang of young lads, 9 times out of 10, they're just trying to be the hard lad in front of their mate.
And all they need is somebody to square up to them.
Yeah, that's usually what it is. Yeah, you collar them and square up to them and say, "Listen, the guards are on the way." A lot of the time they'll break down in front of you.
Well, all I can say to you, Ralph, is fair play to you.
Listen, it happens every day, Adrian. You know what I mean? And it's not an isolated incident.
And come here, just on a completely separate note, I travel on the buses quite a lot now in the last couple of weeks, and I have to give a shout out to a lady bus driver on the 83 bus yesterday afternoon. She's a lady with red hair. I don't know what her name was, but she's the most pleasant bus driver I've ever come across. I have to just say something nice. And I even went, getting off the bus yesterday in Glasnevin, I went over to her window and I said, "It is lovely to come across a pleasant bus driver, and she was lovely now, I have to say. So there you go.
It's nice to get good publicity. Thank you for that.
Absolutely, it is. Yeah, so that lady was on the 83 bus yesterday afternoon, around about 2 o'clock. She's got red hair, and she was just lovely. She was extremely pleasant and extremely polite, and it's nice to be nice sometimes, and she was exactly that. This is 98 FM's Dublin Talks.
98 FM's Dublin Talks with Mattress Express at Des Kelly Interiors, Long Mile Road. Because sleep shouldn't have to wait. 98 FM.
Morning Dublin, Thursday morning. I'm Adrian Kennedy, and this is 98 FM's Dublin Talks. Now, we got this message from a listener, what's her name? Alison. Anyway, the bottom line of what she's saying is she's sick of seeing people walking around the changing rooms butt naked. I am sure it happens in the male changing rooms too, but it's just so unnecessary and inconsiderate. They walk to the showers naked, back from the showers naked, and then they stand there naked while drying themselves and getting dressed. I always, in comparison, pop a towel around myself. Always. It makes me feel extremely uncomfortable, and I want them to stop. Stop, she says. Stop going around in your birthday suit if you're in the gym. And I want to find out whether or not this is something that bothers you, or is she just being a bit prudish? Tom, you're on Dublin's 98 FM. How are you, Tom?
Not too bad. How are you, Adrian?
Tom, you agree with Alison here?
I agree with her totally. Any man that should have a little bit of respect for himself and a bit of dignity shouldn't be going around flaunting it to the country.
It's hardly flaunting it to the country. You're in a changing room.
Well, it's the same thing. There's different people every day in that gym. And it's the same thing. He has no respect. He has nothing. It goes to show you what's inside the brain. Nothing.
Okay, a lot of people, when you go to a gym, you sweat, you have to have a shower. A lot of people don't see the need to wrap up and cover themselves while they're walking to the shower and back from the shower.
Especially where there's women. Do you know what I mean?
No. If you're in a male dressing room, there's going to be no women.
It makes no difference. You have a little bit of respect. Just put a towel around you, go out, dry yourself, and put on your clothes and go home. Do you know what I mean? Like, you don't go around flaunting it at every lad. Do you know what I mean? Like,
so there is.
I don't think it's a nice thing anyway.
There is no need to not have a towel wrapped around you in the dressing room.
None whatsoever. Don't you get one going in? And that shows a man with respect and dignity. And the lad that goes around flaunting it around, he's just he's just putting up a signpost as he is an idiot.
Okay, a lot of people don't see what the problem is. That you're a little bit prudish if you have an issue with people being naked in the dressing room.
It's down to respect, Adrian. Down to respect. And that, you know what I mean?
Okay, stay there for a second. Let me read some of your messages coming in. I find it disgusting, especially when I went swimming with my school and everyone was standing naked like it was nothing. But isn't it nothing? I mean, you're in a dressing room. You're after having a shower. Another one says, yeah, she has a point. Just a little respect to everyone around. And this one says, Adrian, I go to the gym most days and it gets me pissed off to hear guys blowing their nose while showering, and sometimes you can smell and see wee travelling down the shower drains. It's sickening. I saw a guy do it 2 days ago, drying his bum and then looking at the stain and then smelling it. Absolute filth, says Gary. Jeez, I don't know what gym you're going to, Gary. You'd want to be asking for a discount in your membership. And then another message says, I've seen this. They all think we are all envious of them and think that they look fabulous. But they don't. Where am I going? What line are we going to? Noelle, you're on 98 FM. Hiya, Noelle.
Hi, Adrian. How are you?
Good, thank you, Noelle. The question we're asking is, well, the question Alison wants us to ask is, should people cover up, wrap a towel around themselves at all times when they're in the gym or the swimming pool in the changing rooms?
Well, I think, Adrian, any self-respecting person would. Do you know what I mean? I don't think that's even a question. I have had this instance, many times, one in particular where it ended up with almost a catfight from the vulgar person. I was in getting changed. I cover myself up. I know that. This lady was standing, as the day she was born. And I asked her to cover herself up, and she proceeded to call me the most horrendous names, and told me again that I was jealous of her, that this horrible, horrible talk. What it was, Adrian, is that I just think that any self-respecting person should not be comfortable to expose their body to a complete and utter stranger.
So what do you think it is? Exhibitionism?
Of course it is, Adrian. Of course it is. And I think it's completely disrespectful above everything. Have some respect for yourself. Certainly have respect for people around you. And I have been over the years in the situation where I might have a child with me, and a child should not be subject to that, Adrian. It's disgusting.
You see, somebody just texted in, I can't believe that this is an issue. This actually is a big issue for an awful lot of people. This is a huge issue for an awful lot of people, including yourself. You don't want to see naked people walking around the dressing room.
I do not, and I think it's, I hate to say it, Adrian, but a certain calibre of person will do it, fake tan, fake nails, fake hair, fake everything, and they've no shame whatsoever. They're the same type of people who will strut down the street half naked and see no issue with it. When I approached that lady, security, well, I won't call her a lady, wrong word, that person, security was called. She caused a horrible, horrible scene in the store. All because I asked her what any person has a right to. If my eyes are offended, I have a right to say to her, can you cover up?
All right, do me a favour, Noelle, and stay in the line there for 1 second, because I have to take a quick break. Kev, I'm going to talk to you straight after the break. You also believe that there is no need for it. There is no need for people to be walking around the dressing rooms naked.
Oh, I'm not. I'd say it's pure vanity. Absolutely 100% vanity. Look at me, I'm buff, or in a male point of view, or look at me, I'm trim. I've got beach-ready body.
Okay, but stay there for a second, Kev. I'll continue the conversation in a moment. Are you somebody who walks around the dressing room naked? It's pure vanity, says Kev. Tom says you need to cover up. There is no need for it. And Noelle, the same. I'd love to hear from you on 6797 981. Morning, Dublin. It's Thursday morning. I'm Adrian Kennedy, and this is 98 FM. Now, we're in the middle of a conversation all to do with a message that we got from a lady called Alison. And for a lot of people, this is an issue. This is a day-to-day issue. There you are, you're in the gym, and people are walking around letting it all hang out. Now, some of us who go to the gym, we wrap a towel around us. You certainly wouldn't let it all hang out if you were down the beach. So why do you do it in the gym? 6797 981 is our telephone number. Now, Kev, you were saying that there is no need for it, that this is all about vanity.
Indeed. Yeah, look, from on the male side of the change room, in the gym, the sort of people who do that are the ones that wear the t-shirts, only God can judge me. Do you know, that sort of way? And look, there's no need for it. Why? Why? Look, and I've got children who go to a gym swimming pool. And I've heard stories. I know stories of actually women experience, there's separated people out there, and they take their children, and obviously it's only the father and young children. They have to go into the male changing area, okay, and vice versa.
Yes, and having been that separated father, it can be a very difficult thing, especially for a father with a young daughter. It can be a very difficult thing.
Try with twins.
yeah.
But I've heard stories of women experiencing this with boys. And there's women walking around naked, and at an early young age, they're going to learn about the birds and the bees, but they know bother about it, apparently, even though they know there's little children in the changing area. And I'm sure there's many listeners out there who can confirm that.
Okay, so you can see no reason. Logically speaking, there is no reason why you can't cover up. But let me. You mentioned it's about vanity.
Can I just say one last thing?
Yeah, go on. Yeah.
That first gentleman said they don't have respect for themselves. They don't have respect for the people around them. Is more the point, I think. So I'll let you kick off. Sorry.
Adrian, I am in no way vain, says this message, as I'm not in great shape, but I like to air dry. People who have a problem with it are people who are ashamed of themselves. What would you say to that, Kev? He likes to air dry.
Again, it's lack of respect for the people around you. We all know there's things you do and there's things you don't, and it's common sense. You know, you don't cross the road without looking both ways. Because, we all know there's certain rules and regulations. Yeah, it's great to be naked. Do it at home.
Yeah, do it at home. Yeah, okay, stay there for a second. Francis, you're on 98 FM. How are you, Francis?
How are you, Adrian? How are you?
Good, Francis. Not a bother, thanks.
Listen, that's a load of bull what that girl was talking about. You have to be naked going into the gym. How the hell are you supposed to
You have to be naked going into the gym?
No. When you're in the gym like that. Sorry.
Why do you have to be?
Because you want to have a shower or that like that.
No, I understand that. Yeah, we all have a shower when we're in the gym. But wrap a towel around yourself.
Why is she moaning?
Because she wants people to wrap a towel around themselves.
Ah, come on. Listen.
Okay, all right, Francis. Imagine this situation. You're down the beach, okay?
Yeah.
And it's a beautiful sunny day, and you go in for a swim. And then you come back out from the swim, and you want to take off your swimming shorts. Are you going to just whip them off? No, you're not.
No.
You're going to wrap a towel around yourself.
Yeah, but I'll bring a towel with me. You get what I'm saying?
But you'll have a towel in the gym. Why can't you use it in the gym as well?
That's what I do. I'd have the towel around me. But I wouldn't be walking around naked. But I'm just saying, I'd have a towel around me, and I'd be covering me, you know what I'm getting at.
So you do cover yourself up then?
I do, yes.
Yeah, but that's all she's saying.
Respect myself. But why is she giving out over?
Because she wants everyone else to do the same thing. She wants everyone. She'd love you. She wants everyone to do what you do.
Yeah, but why doesn't she encourage that to the gym owner?
She has done, and they just ignore her, I believe. Patrick, you're on 98 FM. How are you, Patrick?
How's it going?
Patrick, your point on this is it's a gym. Get over yourselves.
Pretty much, yeah. I mean, it's a changing room. You go in to get changed. You expect to see nudity, you know. It's a bit silly what she's asking.
But why do you expect to see... This is the point that I was trying to make. If you go to British Bay and you get in for a swim and you get back out and you're going to change out of your wet swimming shorts, are you going to just stand there and let it all hang out? No.
Well, no, I mean, that's a public beach with different...
your dressing room is a public...
You know,
a dressing room is a public...
But this is a woman's changing room. You know, women are going to go in and get changed. There's not going to be kids and men standing there looking at her. It's just women. They all have the same thing.
Well, there could be kids as well.
In the changing room? Well, possibly. I mean, if you bring your kids to the gym, I think that's a bit strange.
Kev, that was your main issue, is that there are children as well.
Yeah, and look, I know, I've heard stories from women. Hang on, I've heard stories from women who have boys, and there's women walking around butt naked, and they've no issue with it. The people doing it themselves. They know there's boys there, little boys, and they're walking around butt naked, and I'll tell you that for a fact. And it's vice versa in the men's. Now, I haven't experienced it in my own personal gym, but I have heard the same story.
But some parents, Kev, also won't even get naked in front of their own children at home.
No, I wouldn't.
Yeah, well, there you go.
I put my children in the shower. While they're there, I get changed, dried and changed. Right? Still have a towel around me, trying to keep as much decency as I can to myself. Right? And then I get them changed.
But Patrick, you think that people who don't like seeing nudity in the dressing room need to get over themselves?
Yeah, I mean, it is a dressing room. You know, people do get changed.
I know.
They have a shower, they come back in, they take their clothes off and get changed.
But Patrick, it is possible to keep yourself covered up. It's not like it's an impossible thing.
But, you know, I don't understand what this woman's problem is. She's got the same as everybody else. They're just coming in, they're getting changed, they're going home. What's the issue? What does she want people to do? Pitch a tent out of the bloody lockers? You know, it's ridiculous.
Hang on for a second. Dave, you're on 98 FM. How are you, Dave?
All right, Adrian.
Dave, you love letting it all hang out when you're in the gym.
I hang it out any way I can, Adrian. Adrian, what's that fella's name? Kev, is it?
Kev, yeah.
He must be hung like a wasp.
Sorry, say that again?
I'm not talking. Why would he want to show anybody being hung like a wasp or hung like a bull?
You must be hung like a wasp. You're afraid to show
him. Matter. Look, I could be hung like a bull. I'm still not going to fuck it. Sorry. I'm not going to let it all hang out for everybody, for the world to see. Right?
There's a difference between...
I bet you wear only God can judge me t-shirts, don't you? And the white
No, only my missus can judge me.
Yeah.
Okay, lads, Dave...
Would your missus do that?
What?
Let it all hang out
in the dressing room.
Nothing hanging on her, lads.
I say with all the amphetamines, you're probably hung like a wasp yourself.
Come here, mate. I'm not big.
Right, enough.
Right, all right. Let's call it.
Hang on.
Call it true.
Oh, this is the best line I've heard in the show in ages. There's nothing hanging on her. Aoife, you're on. Anita, you're on 98 FM. How are you, Anita?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm grand, thank you. What did you want to say?
I just would like to know how they can justify that if somebody an adult exposes themselves to their children in a public place, that it's an offence.
Yes.
However, if they're in a public dressing room and if somebody's walking around naked, exposing themselves to their children,
it's suddenly not an offence.
It's not the same. And I remember a conversation a while back about this, about, parents walking around nude in front of their children and how people saying that it was inappropriate. If somebody walked around nude in front of my son, I'd have an absolute fit.
And Dave, just to go back to you for a second, this is it on a much more serious level.
Right, I understand, Adrian, but there's a difference, right? There's a difference between a gym and a leisure centre. A leisure centre, you have kids going in, right? There's swimming pools, there's everything, but there's also a gym there.
No.
I'm in a gym on Mackin Street, and there's no kids in it. It's just a gym. There's no swimming pool. There's no nothing. Now, I walk around in the gym. If there was a leisure centre where I knew there was kids, I wouldn't walk around the raw. That's
sorry. There are gyms that you can that you can join specifically. Like if I join a gym specifically because they have a swimming pool that I would go to for classes, etc. And, I would take my child specifically because there was a pool there, not necessarily because it's a leisure centre, but just because there's a pool. If there's guys walking around in the nip or women walking around in the nip, I don't want my child exposed to that.
No,
and if I was in a park and some guy was exposing himself in a park, I could call the guards and have him arrested. However, it's perfectly acceptable for you to walk around in the nip in front of my son. I don't think but it's double standards. What you're saying is completely double standards. You are naked.
You see, you have to see that there is a connection here, and most gyms do have, a lot of gyms have swimming pools. I know some don't, but there are kids going to these gyms.
No, Adrian, I do understand where she's coming from. I wouldn't be one now to walk around in front of children, in the road.
I wouldn't myself. But isn't it so easy? I mean, I know you said, Dave, you'd love to let it all hang out and all that, but isn't it so easy to just wrap a towel around yourself?
It is, Adrian.
So maybe we should
all joking aside,
women are most likely the worst offenders here. Women feel
and
like
so I believe.
Less offensive.
Yeah, so I believe that women are even worse. But look, I'm going to have to leave it at that. I'm sorry to cut across both of you. Thanks very much indeed for your call. Anita, Dave, Patrick, Kev, all of you, thank you for your calls. This is 98 FM's Dublin Talks. And that's it from us for today. Barry Dunn is on the way in just a moment. He has more wristbands to give away for 98 FM's Big Slide Festival, which is happening this weekend. I'm really looking forward to it. Only 2 days away. Have a great Thursday. I'll talk to you at 10 in the morning. Bye-bye.
Dublin Talks continues now on Facebook and Twitter. Contact the show 24 hours a day on 6797 981.